Hello, it's a beautiful morning and I'm getting the polytunnel ready for the day. At night I have the doors closed and some of the plants covered with fleece, and every morning the doors are open, the fleece comes off and all the insects, birds and other creatures can come into the polytunnel. We've been enjoying some amazing weather after a really horrible spring last year. This spring has been a joy, but it does mean that a lot of the plants in here are much further on than they would normally be in the middle of April, which is absolutely fine. They've all been overwintered except for the transplants. And so I'll be clearing them over the next week and getting everything ready for the summery plantings to come. Come and join me in the polytunnel. So under here are tomatoes mostly, and I have a lot of tomato plants. This is to make sure that there's enough for planting out here. Sometimes you get plants that are knocked over or eaten, and I don't want to have to be re-sowing. There's also tomatillo here. With tomatillo you need two in order for them to produce the fruit. So there's quite a few tomatillo and also these loofahs. And the fleece just helps keep them a little bit warmer because the nights are still really cool. I will use more fleece or bubble wrap if the temperatures really drop. And down at the bottom we have 4 containers with potatoes in. I think I've sown about 35 varieties of tomato and maybe half a dozen tomatillo. And there's also the aubergines, which are just starting to come in here. My greenhouse isn't very big, so at this time of year it's a question of getting things to a certain size and then moving them on. These ones here will get potted on soon. They're a small dwarfing tomato that goes on windowsills. So I'm going to give some of those to my kids to put on their windowsills of their flats. And down here these are all frost hardy. And the lettuces are just about ready to go out. A few things at the back here need pricking out. Such a busy time. This is why I haven't made any videos for a while, you know. It's just like I'm working either at my desk or in the garden all day. And then by the evening, I'm just too tired. Otherwise, it'd be like a video of me going, oh, I want to go to bed. These lettuces, and they're not lettuces, these cabbages are ready to go out. At the back, there's celery and celeriac, and a few more seeds here. So the polytunnel is looking very, very green just now. We've had the most gorgeous blossom on the fruit trees, and I've been hand pollinating those with a paintbrush, and also the insects have been doing the pollination as well. And a lot of things that I sowed in the autumn in here have now gone to flower, such as these beautiful radish. And I do feel really mean clearing out the lovely flowers, but I know that where they're getting very overgrown, just like here, I know that that's becoming a lovely slug habitat. And if I leave these until quite close to when my tomatoes, aubergines, cucumbers and everything go in, then I will have a higher population of slugs. So I've been leaving these as long as I can for the wild things, and actually mostly waiting until the brassicas in the main part of the garden have started to flower, so that there's plenty of forage for insects. And then they're going to start getting cleared out and I can prepare for planting very soon. It will also give me an opportunity to clear out any weeds. Now down here at the bottom of the garden there's some volunteer potatoes, which I'm just leaving to do their thing, and some volunteer nasturtiums. And then at the back, next to the dried up nasturtium vines from last year, are nettles, and obviously I don't want those in here, and willow herb as well, the top weed of the garden. So These all need weeding out and putting in the compost. Now, this is an asparagus bed, and again, I want to clear those weeds. Look at this willow herb here. I mean, it's on a takeover mission, but very easy to get out with a trowel. We've eaten, I think, 8 asparagus so far, and I'm hoping to pick some more today. Asparagus really benefits from being in a bed where it's not competing with rosebay, willow herb and any other weeds. Now, some of my weeds are not technically weeds. These are self-sown calendula, but I want some. I just don't want, 10,000 calendula plants in the polytunnel. What I do when I've only got very few asparagus, like at the moment, is I usually just put them in something like a tart, so that you get like that lovely asparagus on the top as a little treat. This bluebell should not be in here. I have bluebells in various parts of the garden, but that one is going to have to come out, I'm afraid. So, weeding and clearing are the key jobs at the moment. There's still plenty to eat. So I want to show you this. Now, behind here, we've got Florence fennel, and I'm so pleased with it because it went all bolty in the autumn because the weather was hot then cold and hot then cold, and I thought, well, I'll just let it grow because I can use it as a herb, and also the flowers are really good for pollinators and beneficial predators. But look, they've started to make little bulbs, so we're eating those as Florence fennels, which I wasn't expecting to be able to do, so that's some good news. Yeah, we have overwintered Yakon, which needs dividing now and potting on, and once all danger of frost has gone by in sort of the middle of May, I'll plant them out in the garden. I have 2 of these plastic mini greenhouses, and one's in here and one is in the actual greenhouse. I would not put them outside here in Wales. They are very, very likely to blow away, but they're ideal as a microclimate. So things like aubergines, which are very tender, are going in here in the polytunnel where they can grow on until they get planted out. They also provide some vertical growing space, so it makes the most of this very precious undercover space that I have here. When the polytunnel was put up in August 2021, I wood chipped the first 10 feet to create a space for sowing, pricking out, doing other jobs where it's dry and out of the weather. There's sort of borders either side where I've got things planted, including a grapevine either side of the door at the top. There's another one down the bottom as well. And so now we have our little barn, and that's ideal for sowing, pricking out when I want to be doing it out of the weather. This spring I will be planting out at least another 5 feet of the polytunnel, which means more growing space, more food, which absolutely we need these days because the prices of everything are complete. I haven't sown any beans for growing out in the garden yet. Still a bit early in the year. They grow really fast, and the last frost date's not for like another 4 weeks, so I don't want to have like beans this high and having to be potting them on. So these are a dwarf bean, they're a bush bean, and they're for the polytunnel. I'll be popping them in over the weekend and making them a little cloche if the weather's cold at night. This will give me an early crop of beans, and it will be super easy just to plant the tomatoes or whatever in between them. They make quite a nice ground cover too. So that's a quick tour of my polytunnel. Oh, if you notice the roof now here, we've started cleaning it with a long handled brush. Say we actually got one of my sons to do it, but I think I'll be doing the rest. And the rest of it needs doing now, and the difference when you clean the grime, and this is due to last year's really horrible weather, the difference in light levels is extraordinary, and it definitely needs doing before the tomatoes, aubergines, etc. start to go in. Exciting times ahead. I love this time of year. It's exhausting because there's so much to do. You're constantly playing catch up, but it's the growth is just incredible, and it's exciting as more and more insects start populating the garden. Outside, the cherry trees are starting to blossom, and they're just totally full of bees. It's absolutely lovely. Thank you for joining me here in the polytunnel. If you have any questions about polytunnel growing or gardening in general, do pop them in the comments, and happy growing.